Hello and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. Welcome to the Profit Break. If you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you'll be well on your way to improving yourself and your profitability. To run a successful game room, it's crucial to understand and monitor several key metrics. Mastering these will ensure your game room provides fun, value, and lasting memories for your guests while maintaining a healthy bottom line for your business. On today's episode, we'll discuss the importance of setting and monitoring redemption machine payout percentages. This core metric is vital for your redemption games, and understanding its impact on guest experience and profitability is essential for success. So let's jump right into it and talk about that redemption room game payout percentage. If you recall from earlier episodes, we've talked about there's 5 key things that you need to really understand if you're going to run a successful game room. So at the very beginning, it's all about your guests, right? Everything you do revolves around your guests. All the decisions you make, all the systems you put in place, it's all about your guests, who your target guest is. The very top of that metric is the games. You've got to have the right games to meet the needs of your audience. So it's crucial that the games are going to match who your audience is. After that, we talked about determining what the point value is going to be. So a start, you have to know what a point is worth that comes out of those redemption machines. So today we're going to talk about, now you take the next step, and the payout percentages. So this all leads into the payout percentages for each of the games, each of the redemption games in the game room. So let's kind of go through that and see what we're talking about here. So what is it, first of all? So all it is that for every dollar that's spent, it's the value that's returned to the guest in the form of points. They put money in, they get points out. Those points have a value. You've set the point value, so now you have many points, so what are those points worth? That's all payout percentage is going to be. For every dollar spent, it's the value returned to your guests in the form of points. So oftentimes you're going to hear us talking about value and perceived value. You have to give back. People have to feel like they're getting something in addition to the entertainment, because remember, that redemption room is driven by your prizes and redemption games. They've got to get something tangible and worth their while. Okay, so that's really all it is. Why is it important? It's a factor in how much your guests are going to enjoy playing the games. So remember, back in the day when we had tickets, you see all those tickets coming out. You don't see it now. You might hear the ding, ding, dings, but you're getting more points. The more points, the more your guests are going to enjoy it. Beyond that, too, what are those points worth? So there has to be that perception of value. So if I'm getting enough points out and I can get something worthwhile in the redemption store, that's the perception of value. Is it worth my hard-earned cash? Or am I better off just going to buy something similar? Ultimately, this is also going to impact your cost of goods. You know, how many points you're giving back and how many prizes you're giving out is going to impact your cost of goods, which is going to impact your profitability. Simple as that. So there's nothing complicated about the game room. There's just some systems that you have to put in place and make sure you monitor and follow them. So what's the correct value? Well, you know, it depends. There's an industry range, an accepted range for different types of games, but it's going to vary. It's going to vary by who you are and where you are and what kind of experience that you have. For example, if you're in a vacation area where your guests are coming once a year, you're probably going to be able to have lower payout percentages. If you're, you're counting on repeat business, you're probably going to want to have higher payout percentages, giving your guests something, giving them a reason to save their points, giving them a reason to come back. And also your competition. Great resources for that. It's like, what do I do for ranges? Aside from the industry accepted ones, talk to your distributor that you bought the games from, and certainly talk to your card system provider. They're a great source of information. They can tell you what's typical out there. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you how you do it, how you want to do it based on your location. Okay, so what is the correct value? It's going to vary by game. So you have, this is all about the redemption games. Within the redemption universe, if you will, there's different levels, different types of games. And so it's important that you become familiar with the play value versus a reward value. Now, simply all that means is the longer you play a game, take for instance skee ball, that takes a while to play that game. That's considered to have a high play value. Okay? I get a lot of enjoyment out of playing that. So typically that means you get less points. Think about that when you've played skee ball. It's true. So longer the play time, the lower the rewards, the lower the points. On the opposite end of the spectrum are the games that are over quickly. Something like a big bass wheel. It's over very quick. You know, you're pulling that wheel, it's done. What's the point of playing it? Is I potentially could win a lot of points. A lot of points that I can then take and redeem for a prize. So it's important that you understand the games that you have and where they fit in this play value versus reward value. That's going to determine what the payout ranges are. Okay? So here's some typical ones that you'll find in the industry. Again, they're not exact, and some locations will go higher and lower on either, depending on a variety of factors. Alley rollers like skee balls and such in the sports games like basketball, NBA hoops, so they're going to be on the lower end because they have a higher play time. Video redemption is kind of, you know, take it a little bit longer to play it, so play value is good. Depends. The reward value tends to be a little bit higher than those first two. Then you get into some of the ones that are over a little quicker. Pushers aren't over that fast, so their value is a little bit lower. And the great thing about pushers is that is a great way to encourage length of stay. So if you got a pushers, make sure you have a stool or seat in front of those and a table for adults to put their drinks. I love playing those games. So that could often drag on for a while. So the play value is great, and the reward value is also pretty good. They're very popular games. Then you get into the quick coins, 25 to 30. I've seen some go to 35. It depends on what they are, and they're exactly that. They're quick, like a big bass wheel. And then deluxe games are those big, like Monster Drop, Extreme, things like that are big, they're bright, they're beautiful, they're expensive, over fast, they pay out a lot. Okay, those are attraction pieces. So what you have to do is, at the end of the day with your games, you're going to create it's no different than food and beverage. Okay, you're going to create a blend of games that deliver the bottom line that you want as far as cost of goods, in this case payout percentage. All right, so there's a little bit of art, there's a little bit of science to the whole thing. Okay, so what happens next? How do you do the math? What does it mean? How do I get there? For example, let's keep it simple. So if a machine, this same formula applies to a single game or the whole game room, because you have to do it for the entire lot of your redemption pieces. So if I gave out 1,000 points, it came out of one machine or even the whole arcade. Okay, I'm going to multiply that by the point value. Point value that I've picked is that industry standard of a penny. Keep it simple. 1,000 times a penny is $10. That's the value of the points that came out of that machine or those machines. Then I have to know how much income I had. When you're considering, or when you're trying to calculate the payout percentage, you're going to take cash, actual cash, and bonus cash. The game was played. I know it's not real money, it's bonus cash, but you have to factor that in. So cash plus bonus cash, add them together, that equals the sales. In this example, I had $28 in sales. Okay, so then I take the point value, $10 divided by the sales of 28, and I come up with a 35.7%. That's all it is. That's how you figure it out. It's a very simple formula. Again, it's the same thing that works for one redemption piece or your entire redemption game room, and you have to calculate both of those. The card system, if you have one, will do it for you. Here's an example of what you might get out of it, a summary, and you can see up at the top here, the two we're talking about today are the payout percentages and then the target. You're dependent on your card system provider. When you input the ranges that you want, so it's important that you, in your card system, that you set it up. First you set it up with the right point value, and then you set it up with the target range. So in this example, you see the DC Comics, the target range was 25 to 30%. That actually gets input into the card system. And then what will happen is some of the card system providers will highlight it if you're outside that range. So if you're too low, in this case we're too low, it would highlight, it might turn red for you. Okay, so they'll do the work for you, but it's important that you input the correct information. And all you're going to do is you're going to look at this report. I mean, you look at it once a week. I wouldn't do it. You can look at it every day, but I wouldn't act on it every day. Look at it once a week, see if everything is close. If you get something that's really out of whack, you need to investigate it. After a couple of weeks, if it's still high, you probably want to make some adjustments. And then at the bottom, you'll see the entire redemption arcade is running at 23.8 versus a target of 20. Okay, so there's some it's not that bad, but when you're about 4% high, you need to look into what machines are causing that to happen. Okay? So for you, what your task is you've got to understand it's important that you understand the play versus the reward value, because that's what's going to drive what those percentages are. Okay? Make sure you update your card system with the proper payout percentage ranges. Okay, that's really critical, because if you don't, then the information you're going to get out is not going to be worthwhile at all. So update your card system, not just with the payout percentage, but make sure your point value is correct. You've got to measure that, you got to monitor it, you got to adjust it, you got to see what your goals are, and then you just keep tweaking your room as you go along. Okay, you may accept certain games as being higher or lower for whatever reason. Maybe you have great guests that are in there all the time and they like playing this one game. Or it just works for you. You want to be a little higher. That's fine, as long as you're where you want to be on the bottom. Okay, don't act without getting sufficient data. Okay, so don't look at one day and say, oh my gosh, okay, something, you might have had a different crowd in there. You want to keep an eye on it, but give yourself some time to get some real data, and don't make wacky payout changes. And then finally, remember that payout percentages do not equal cost of goods. Okay, this is what comes out of your machine. It doesn't mean that that's what's getting redeemed. Some points are never going to come back. Okay, so this is not the same as your cost of goods. And we'll talk about cost of goods in another episode. Okay, so don't forget, all right, winners make players. You want your guests to win, you want them to get points, you want them to have prizes that are worth winning, because at the end of the day, what it's all about is creating a great experience for them, having a good time at your place, and then they'll come back. Don't forget these 5 key factors, okay, your games, point value, payout percentage, and cost of goods, and again, it all is about your guests. Everything you do is about your guests. All right, so that's a real quick summary and explanation of payout percentages. If you'd like to take a deeper dive in today's topic, check out the game room courses in the on-demand online training program at bowlinuniversity.net. Plus, the courses have some helpful templates in the resources section for you. If you are ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us anytime at education@bpaa.com. As we wrap up another edition of the Profit Break, remember that when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. This episode, as well as all our previous Profit Break episodes, are available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinuniversity.net. Plus, new episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about the latest episodes. Until then, I'm John Karabatsis, and do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.